Greetings, people. It's Mr. Pooh, the Trigger, yet again on another episode of the Enlightenment series. So, I'm doing a follow up of the previous video that I did. The video that I did yesterday, which sparked quite a lot of controversy. And it raised so many eyebrows, and so many people were left with unanswered questions. And particularly Jeremiah Omoto's followers, in their defense, they were saying, Prof X, we've never spoken with Jeremiah Omoto. We've never had contact with Jeremiah Omoto. There's no way Jeremiah Omoto could have been the one who sent you that money. Omoto Fofen did not send you any money, blah, 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 blah. And I want to attest to that. I've never spoken to Omoto Fofen. We've never spoke directly. But we've always had our intermediator, who was Chioma Johnson at that time, as she called herself, as she was lying and misrepresenting her identity as Chioma Johnson, who is actually Doris Ogala. So Doris Ogala was our medium. Doris Ogala was our medium of communication between me and Jeremiah Omoto Fofen. How can I prove this? And to also prove that the money was coming from Jeremiah Omoto Fofen. And this money was meant to make Ruth Matthew change her story, to make Ruth Matthew admit that she knows where baby testimony is. The money was actually not for Ruth Matthew. The money was for me. Ruth Matthew had her own plan that they had set aside. An apartment which will be paid for 2 years, and 2 million naira. That was the one that was proposed for Sister Ruth Matthew. And a business that they were going to open for her, that she would run to sustain herself for the longest time ever. That was the proposal that came from Jeremiah Omoto Fofen. Chioma Johnson was acting on behalf of Jeremiah Omoto Fofen. Chioma Johnson does not have the financial capacity. Chioma Johnson does not have any money, as she claims on the streets of social media. Chioma Johnson is desperately wanting. Chioma Johnson is someone that is trying to make a living out of these intermediating and doing damage control for these charlatans, because she always sees them as vulnerable. And remember, Chioma Johnson is also Chris Okafor's side dish. Like I told you in my previous episodes, in case you missed them, Chioma Johnson is actually Chris Okafor's side dish, or should I call it a side chick to Chris Okafor. So when this case of baby testimony started, it was Chris Okafor who recommended Chioma Johnson to Jeremiah Omoto and promised Jeremiah Omoto that this woman can deliver. She has handled bigger cases than this. That's what they thought, that all the useless other cases that Chioma had managed to infiltrate and cause this, and strike imbalance in those cases. They thought she had the same capacity to also filter in this case of baby testimony, and cause some sort of confusion or trick me or get me to Nigeria. That was the role of Chioma Johnson, as she was recommended by her boyfriend, who is Chris Okafor, to Omoto Fofen. So she was literally working. Hence, she had each and every piece of our communication on record, because she had to report back to the boss. She had to prove to the boss that she is working and she is getting results. So had I not given her the results that she was anticipating, we could have not have gotten to the stage where we are today. And like I was saying, Chioma Johnson has no money at all. Let me just show you who Chioma Johnson, not the Chioma Johnson who's being portrayed by the YouTube doctor. That one is just a cooked Chioma Johnson. That one is just a stage managed Chioma Johnson. The one with wigs all over and big shades and stuff like that to make her look like she's a pop star. No. She's nowhere near that. She's nowhere near that. Chioma Johnson is searching. She's trying to make ends meet. All the private jets that she said she has none of those things. She has never been in a private jet her entire life. Neither has she ever dreamt in a private jet, being in a private jet. That can never happen. Dreams are selective also. You just don't dream things that are beyond your reach. So everything about Chioma Johnson is a lie. Before we get to Doris Ogala, everything about Chioma Johnson is a lie. So when she comes to you and then she starts telling you that she was in love with Prof X and me and Prof X were in love with each other, it really does not make no sense. Because let's assume that I fell in love with Chioma Johnson. It's Chioma Johnson that I fell in love with, not Doris Ogala. Because the Chioma Johnson that I know came in the package of Nengi. Because the pictures of the Chioma Johnson that I got in touch with were pictures of Nengi. So if indeed I fell in love, then it means I fell in love with the wrong person. I fell in love with Nengi. If there's anyone who should be coming to proclaim that I was in love, it's Nengi. Because Nengi is the one that I saw the pictures of. And when you do the comparison of Nengi and Chioma Johnson, there's a big difference. So will I be crazy for me now to adjust my love for the pictures of Nengi that Chioma Johnson sent me, impersonating Nengi, and shift my love from those pictures to now the original pictures of Doris Ogala, the Nigerian actress who has failed in the career of acting, who's now trying to make a living out of these extortions and blackmailing of these false prophets. This is Chioma Johnson in her original stature, not these portrayed, filtered images that you see flying on the internet to make her look like she's loaded. Chioma is not loaded. She's searching. She's trying hard to make ends meet. If you can just watch this video, you can have a clear an idea of who we are dealing with. She's just a street smart girl who's also trying to put one and two together. So check this video out.
Hi guys, hi everyone, how is your family? How is everyone? So, I'm here with my big mommy, my auntie, my one and only, my fashionist. Yes. So you see, I want you all to follow
Patronize her.
Yes, patronize her. She's a fashionist, she can sew a lot of clothes.
Honestly, actually, she surprised us with money.
Hey, very beautiful. So please patronize her, go to her page. Just tell her any style you want her. She's equal to the tax. She's so good. I want to be like you.
Okay, so her Instagram
Name is Fashion Amaka.
And Amaka Eze.
So go to her Instagram name. Go to her Instagram.
This video was recorded a year ago, I think in 2020. So it must be 2 years now. So you can tell from this video that this is not a person that can have a private jet. This is not a person that can have 3,000 to throw around to send me 3,000. These are the original pictures of Chioma Johnson. Or I mean of Doris Ogala. This is the real Doris Ogala. So can you tell me, people, can this person afford to throw away 3,000 US dollars to book a flight for Mr. PDT? Can this person afford Transcorp Hotel? Tell me, let's be just honest. They say don't judge a book by its cover. But today, let's make an exception. In this case, let's make an exception. Does this person appeal to you or come across to you as someone who can afford Transcorp Hotel? Does she come across to you as someone who can own a private jet? Does she come across to you as someone who can afford 3,000 US dollars to just send to Mr. PDT to book a flight and fly all the way to Nigeria? Does she look like that person? She's nowhere near the person that she claimed to be. Hence, she was sending me pictures of Nengi. Because she had to balance the false image of herself with someone who looks more artificial and someone who looks more deserving and well-structured enough to fit the role or the character that she was portraying to be. So it's Chioma Johnson who was the intermediator. She's the one who was doing all these transactions. But before she does any transaction, she would consult Jeremiah Omoto first. To say, Omoto for fame, let's pay this amount of money to do this kind of damage control. I'm going to play for you a video which I recorded about a month ago. And I was trying to make this very same point that I'm making today. That Chioma Johnson's idea or her main role was to just strike us off balance and to just buy me out of this pursuit of fighting for baby testimonies justice. So I had to use reverse psychology to get her to put me in a position whereby I can know what Jeremiah is thinking. Because all the ideas that Chioma Johnson was communicating to me were Jeremiah Omoto's ideas. She was just the messenger. There's no money that ever came from Chioma Johnson, Doris Ogala, no penny. All the money came from Jeremiah Omoto for fame. And that money that they sent, the 10,000 US dollars, it was meant to make me convince Ruth Matthew and admit that, to make her admit that she's the one who sold baby testimony, or she's the one who's liable for the disappearance of baby testimony. And they thought 30,000 will carry it. I mean, 10,000 will carry it. So this video I'm going to play for you, I did it a month ago. To those of you who are catching me for the first time, this was a conversation between me and Doris Ogala. And I want you to spot the lies in this woman called Chioma Johnson. I want you to understand her deceptive nature and where she was coming from and where she was going and her role in this whole jazz of baby testimony missing and Jeremiah Omoto coming through throwing around money to make this case die. Just pay very close attention and then we will analyze it after. So I'll just play you a snippet of the video that I recorded a month ago. And it involves a conversation between me and Chioma Johnson when we were negotiating about the 10,000. And in the midst of that conversation, she will mention that she spoke with this guy. And this guy said, if I pay this money, is Ruth Matthew going to tell us where the child is? So the question that I want us to ask is, who is this guy she was referring to if it was not Jeremiah Omoto for fame? You hear it in this conversation that you're about to listen. And I asked her a question again, that Chioma, judging from what you heard from Jeremiah Omoto for fame, from this guy that you're referring to as this guy, can you tell me, do you think this guy knows where baby testimony is or not? That was just a tricky question. I wanted to know where Chioma Johnson is. And with confidence, she said, I don't think Omoto has baby testimony. That's where I knew that this woman is compromised. This woman is not there for baby testimony. This woman was just there to make me believe her lies and Jeremiah Omoto's lies. How can Jeremiah not know where baby testimony, if baby testimony was abducted at his own shrine? How can he not know where baby testimony is or the whereabouts of baby testimony if he is refusing to provide the CCTV footage that can clear the air, that can make everyone understand that he has nothing to do with the abduction? He has concealed so many information, vital information that can bring light to the public. And through that, by virtue of that, it has made us conclude that Jeremiah Omoto is actually the kingpin of this entire abduction syndicate. So without further ado, I'll let you listen to the conversation which led to this money being transferred. And I want you to pay attention to Doris Ogala as well, as she was advocating for Jeremiah Omoto for fame because she was the intermediator. Check it out. Hello?
Yeah.
Talk to me.
So what am I talking to you about? I don't have anything to
Talk to me about the streets.
You're not sending anything for the streets then. You're doing your thing. You're running your street by yourself.
Go to the streets, my darling, and make some moves.
Send me pictures to make moves. I call these people right away. I put you on call. You hear the negotiation. I don't have time. I'm angry. I want to use this anger.
Why?
Bully these people.
You're gonna use the anger that that Bisola is causing you. You're angry. You see, Jeremiah, this is the time you should sneak out that boy when there's this kind of noise. And no one will.
I don't know if he has a boy. That's his business. Not my business anymore.
Nah, but he does. Me, I'm convinced he does. If he had some proper counseling, this was the perfect moment.
You go and tell him that.
Give me his number, I'll tell him. Give me his number, I'll advise him.
I don't have his number. I have somebody there. The
Give.
number I have, I sent you the number. You have the number.
You send me 100 numbers. You think me I'll be saving each number and trying? Do I look desperate to you? Call that person and tell them and advise them that listen, people, it's the right time for you to sneak out that child.
So I'm not gonna do that. As if they have a child, I'm not gonna do that. That's their business. But the way when I spoke to them last, the way the guy was talking, I don't think he has a child because the guy was saying that if we pay this money, is the root girl going to confess where she kept her child? Is she going to confess where she kept her child? That's what they were saying. Is this money going to make her tell the truth where she kept her child? That's what they were saying. So that's what got me confused.
Okay, I know you can judge character and you can know when someone is telling the truth or when someone is lying. From them, did you believe that they really don't have the child? From the way that he was speaking.
From the way they were speaking, I don't think they have the child. Because when they were about to give that money, they said, is Ruth going to confess?
Which money?
That she knows?
Which money? That's small money.
I said, that's what I'm saying.
That's the money that they
when
were
they
asking.
were giving that small money, they said, are you not listening to what I'm saying? Or you want to speak your own? You asked me a question and I'm answering the question. From the way they sounded, they said, is this woman going to confess where she kept her child?
They're just playing. They're just playing safe. They probably think you'll be recording them.
I don't do recording. I don't do recording. I only recorded morning. I don't do recording.
Chioma, you record. Stop acting like you don't record calls.
I don't record calls. I'm not lying about it. I swear on my life, if I'm recording you, let me die.
Chioma Johnson.
If I'm recording you, let me not even. I'm talking to you now. I'm on my earpiece. I'm recording you. Let me not wake up. Let me not even have children. The most important thing I want to have is children. Let me not have. I'm not recording you. I swear on my life and honor.
Chioma Johnson.
I recorded Maury because I knew Maury was recording me.
Chioma Johnson.
You never trusted me. That's it. That's how I work with you. You don't trust me. I'm already tired.
I don't have a problem being recorded. Have I ever complained about being recorded?
I'm not recording you for crying out loud.
That's why I'm saying that I'm not worried about being recorded.
With my other phone, because I put that other phone on speaker. Right now I'm using my earpiece.
Chioma.
And that earpiece, I'm the only one hearing you.
So in this part of the conversation, as you can hear, Chioma Johnson, she's liaising, advocating on behalf of Jeremiah Omoto's people to say, I spoke with these people. And they said, if we pay this money, is Ruth Matthew going to confess that she's the one that has the child? It's not like they're speaking this from their own holiness. It's not like Jeremiah Omoto is saying this because he knows he does not know anything about this, but he wants to sell a picture, an image. To say, okay, if we pay this money that you want to pay Omoto, engage proper investigative, detective. If you have nothing to do with it to find out if Ruth Matthew is indeed lying or not, instead of arresting her and abusing her and threatening her. Why would you want to send money to get Ruth Matthew have a house that will be paid for what you call this, for 2 years, or to buy Ruth Matthew an apartment so that she does not talk about this? So that she does not claim or demand for baby testimonies justice. So they said, we will pay this money. What was this money being paid for? So that Ruth Matthew comes and confess that she knows where baby testimony is. So I sent them a Nigerian account, and they deposited, how much was it? 10,000 US dollars. But I think it was converted and then they put it into Naira. And it's still there, that money, not touched, not moved, not anything done to it. One thing you don't realize, people, is all this, remember, there are only 2 transactions. Don't let them say that we were taking, no, there are only this transaction, which they did during this time when Chioma was fighting with Bisola. And now I was coming to them trying to manipulate them to say, Chioma, why don't you talk to Jeremiah Omoto so that he can just sneak out baby testimony at this time? So that he can just release him without anyone noticing. Because my heart bleeds for this boy. Chioma, just go and talk to him, counsel him, give him proper counseling. Talk to him. They denied. They are hardened. Omoto Fofana and his team, they are not in that position. I pushed them to all the extremes to try to convince them that me and Chioma were together. Me and Chioma, I listen to what Chioma says. Do anything you want. We can make this thing, lay low, but release the boy. Just release the boy. Chioma, I told it. Chioma, just talk to them, counsel them. To say, just release the boy. Just release the boy. You can even do it privately, sneak him out, and then we can even come up with a different narrative to say, oh, the baby was found. That's what Jeremiah would have just done. He would have just left baby testimony anywhere where anyone can pick him up. And we can now start just running narrative to say, oh, maybe Jeremiah did it, maybe he didn't. But what is important, what is of relevance, what's the most important thing is that we get baby testimony. So them agreeing to say, okay, we'll make sure that we secure Ruth, we get Ruth an apartment, and we'll also pay another 10,000 US dollars for a child. You people, you are gamers, you are players. You don't take this matter so serious. That's why Omoto would always say, this would be a bygone. This case is dustbin. This case, dustbin? That's what you really think? And the reason why they were doing these transactions, they just wanted to make sure that Prof X Chioma Johnson, it will entirely look like the idea behind this case of baby testimony is to extort money from Omoto. That was the entire thing. They just want something to say, Prof X, the entire idea behind this missing child is to take money from Omoto. There's no money that we need from Jeremiah Omoto, not even a kobo. If Jeremiah Omoto gives us baby, I'll promise him this. If he releases baby testimony, we will never mention him again, ever and ever again. Never. I promise. And you know my word is my bond. We'll never mention him again. I swear to God. But they're trying. They don't want, they are hardened. These people, they've made up their mind. If we don't fight hard for this, we'll never get it. And when she was sending this money, this is her confirming that she is looking for in Nigeria. Because I sent her one of, I have so many people in Nigeria. I sent her this, one of my brother's account details. This is the recording of her telling me that she's sending the money.
Okay, hi, Prof X. I think the bank we've been trying to do transfer on that Access Bank is not going. So if we can get another bank account so that it will go, because they're already in the bank to make the transfer. So if you can get another bank in Nigeria, Access is not going through. So another bank, let's try another bank, see if it will go through. They are waiting in the bank now so they can make the transfer.
And I think from then they were expecting that Prof X will stop talking about this baby, this case of the baby. Guys, if you bring 1 billion right now, there's not a case that I will let go. The only time I will let go of this case is when the baby is found. And all this is just meant to neutralize the case of baby testimony. It's impossible. I know someone sent me a message. You say, Prof X, that is money for the wicked. Just give it away. We are going to give it away. But for now, I wanted to calculate and see where their moves are getting to. It's all there. And when the need arises, according to Proverbs 13 verse 22, the wealth of the wicked will be divided amongst the righteous. We'll just do a giveaway. It will be a good thing for the Nigerians, for those that are in Nigeria with Nigerian accounts. We'll just do an entire live broadcast whereby you will just be putting your account details, and all of you will be cashing out. To the 3,000 that Chioma sent, that one maybe it will be reserved for the international guests that are watching us. Those ones with PayPal accounts. Those ones will just be dashing them via PayPal. About 3,000 is not a lot of money, but at least those ones that will get it will get it. Like I told you, I recorded this video about a month ago, and from Doris Ogala, the lies of Ogala. There's nothing true about Doris. Nothing at all. Nothing. Did you hear when she said, this guy said, if I pay this money, is Ruth Matthew going to tell us where baby testimony is? Which guy, Doris, were you referring to? Which guy were you talking about? If not Jeremiah Omoto for fame. And what even made me crack, when she was giving me an assurance that she does not record calls, she even went on to swear that if I'm recording you, let me die. Do you see how hardened type of a criminal Doris is? She fears no God. She has been hardened. She has been corrupted to the core. If I'm recording you, Mr. PDT, let me die. Let me not have a child. If I am recording you, let me not have a child. How do you make such bold claims when you know you're lying? So how can you now believe anything that comes out of Doris's mouth if she can make such claims that if I'm recording you, let me die. If I'm recording you, let me not ever have a child. This is what they've done to these women, these charlatans, these Chris Okafors and Jeremiah Omoto. They sleep with these women. When they sleep with them, they leave them vagabondress. They leave them empty, damaged goods. Doris is damaged goods. She needs some serious work on her. Someone that can help her, uplift her spiritually, and make her repent and seek the face of Christ with all truth and honesty. But she might be beyond repair, beyond redemption. I don't see a soul that is still worth saving. I don't see hope in someone like Doris, personally. She has made up her mind that she's okay with this life. Doris, stay away from the Okafors, man. Stay away from the Omotos. They are robbing you. Look at you now, what they've made of you. Look at what they've done to you. Destroyed and killed your conscience. They made you someone that you never thought you would become. So in this conversation, I hope it clears the air to all the people that were still having the doubts to say, how was this money sent? How was this money given to you? How did you even know that it's coming from Jeremiah Omoto for fame? Doris Ogala has said it all. She has confessed it all, where the money was coming from. So I hope this puts a halt to the conspiracy theories and the red flags and the doubts that some of Omoto for fans people were having to say, where is this money? How did this money get to you? And stuff like that. That's how it got to me. So with that being said, let me check you out on the next episode of the Enlightenment series. It's Mr. Pull the Trigger. I'm out.